The non-monetary claim would be a situation where someone is not claiming any damages from the township. They're just not happy with the decision the township has made. Say they want to expand their garage or something like that, and the township has denied, that request. They're just suing because they want the court to review that decision and basically overrule the township. That would be a non-monetary claim. So there's no big ticket dollar damages attached to it. It's just a decision. So basically what you're dealing with there is just the cost of hiring the attorney to defend yourself, defend the decision you made. That's what this coverage is for. Again, we haven't had hardly any claims under this section. It's a newer coverage that we've added just because it was something that we weren't providing coverage for. We've added that on to policy. And if you didn't feel that was enough, I don't know, have you had many claims in the past where someone sued and they haven't claimed damages? I mean, I know we haven't had too many claims.
Well, this could go hand in hand with what we're getting into, developing an ordinance to where they say, well, your ordinance restricted us from adding or excluding, to where I could foresee $50,000 being ate up pretty good if we have an attorney that we'd hire, go to court, all the other things. That's I guess what I would do. We're just.
And that would be a situation where they're going to sue just because they're not happy with the decision of the township. They're not going to claim any damages. Okay.
Don't know if they would. Maybe they just want the court to decide whether this is too, what would we say, too restrictive or whatever. They want a ruling on that, or exclusionary. Yeah.
Because I mean, that is definitely, again, I'd have to get you figures on that, because this is what it's a newer coverage. I don't have numbers for you, but we can increase that. I want to say off the top of my head, we can go up to $500,000 per suit with $1 million maximum on that one. At least those are the current limits that we have available. But that, yeah, I mean, if you get a large corporation that understands the system and is not claiming damages, that could be an area that we definitely need to address. I know a lot of times the insurance companies, not just ours, but they'll review the situations, and a lot of times the least expensive route is to either settle the claim and review the situation, determine what's at stake, and then settle those as quickly as possible.
No, I see your title is here, Regional Risk Manager. Do you have someone that actually comes out and does an assessment of your risk that would help us prepare ourselves for this?
We do. We have a risk control department that they will assess just the township in general as far as your operations, what risks are involved. As far as the specific with our companies and that you're talking about right now, as far as we don't have a prepaid legal, I mean, we're a defensive posture, and unfortunately most insurance companies are that nature where we're ready to, as soon as you get sued, defend. We're not in a position where we're going to attack somebody or go out. We can definitely talk to the attorneys and what they're going to. We have attorneys on staff that deal with these situations. We can get them involved, and then they're experts in municipal business, and they've dealt with other similar situations. But that would be an agreement between that attorney and the township, whatever you decide, as far as what they're going to charge for their advice and things like that. It's not something that is prepaid legal as far as if you get sued, then of course we would assign an attorney and that'd be covered in the policy. But prior to that lawsuit, just to hire an attorney to advise the township on how to, the best things to do. We could definitely get you in touch with an attorney But again, I can't speak for the attorneys of what they would charge or, you know, how they would address that, but we could definitely give you
I guess what I was looking for is if you had someone that came down and we looked at the total scope of this project, or we're gonna have happen here. 3 different companies involved. Each tower, am I wrong, about 3 million, 3.1 million apiece. So you take that times the total amount of this money that's gonna be put out here under this property. I guess what I look for is someone that would come in and say to us, well, being you've got this going, I think you need to have your limits set to this, this, or this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you offer that service? I guess that's what we're at. We don't know. I mean, that's what we got here.
Right. I can talk to our, I mean, as far as just advising based on the possibility of a claim, we've done.
I mean, you've kind of admitted that we're kind of simple here because we don't have fire, we don't have these other risks that other townships, we realize that. But we've got a whole new risk coming in now that is far above, as far as I'm concerned, of what those liabilities they have with the fire department or a sewer project or whatever. I mean, when you look at the cost of these, we have something coming in here that's gonna be a huge, basically a liability, and especially as this thing's going on with all the equipment that's gonna be coming here running around the community. We don't know what's ahead of us really, and I think there's some type of, I think this is, they're coming in around the state, they already have some around the state, and being that you're kind of representing the township groups, I think it kind of behooves you to, I guess, get your feet into this thing and say, hey, this is a new area that we might be needing to look at real strongly. I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole new ballgame for all of us.
Right. And I can talk to, and that'd be more as far as not an attorney's role, but the head of our underwriting department. I could get our risk control involved, and we could come out and sit down and, you know, go through in more detail, you know, what specifically is going on here. And I mean, that'd be more risk control and underwriting, you know, how we feel. The problem with this, if we get into a situation where the risk control and underwriting, see, this is a big exposure. They're gonna want to charge you for that. You know, and on top of that, that's might be something they say we don't want to really get into. I mean, we have what we have in place. But that, I mean, it's kind of the can of worms you open up there. But we could absolutely get risk control involved in underwriting, and then look at that scenario. If you have, and we had this situation with sewer backups prior to 2002. Prior to 2002, when we had a sewer backup, whether it was your fault or not, the provider, the municipality, if you had a backup, you were paying for the plant back in someone's house. So when that was the case, basically it was, okay, the insurance companies are always paying out, the insurance companies pulled coverage back. They either reduced it or charged a lot more for it, and that's kind of what happened. Then the law changed, and then it was next to impossible to prove that the municipality was at fault. Then the insurance company coverage came back. It's one of those things where the insurance plays on the numbers, the fact that, you know, if there's an exposure we can spread amongst a number of townships or whatever, then, you know, we can provide this. If it's a claim that is always going to happen, and we're always paying out, that's when the insurance companies look at it and say, you know, we're either going to charge you a lot for it, or, you know, that might be something we don't want to insure. I mean, that's just insurance in general. But to answer your question, yes, we can set up something and get our risk control and our underwriting involved and really assess the situation.
Possible liability.
Right, right.
If we could get some help or some guidance.
Right, and that's, like I said, we can definitely do that, look into it and say, you know, what we can provide and what other companies can provide is $1 million, and that's the most we can do right now. Then maybe we look at increasing that under the regulatory takings coverage. But absolutely, we can set something up out and call it risk control and underwriting tomorrow, and you start that process. So,
Can you answer back to us by maybe?
when is your meeting?
It's the second. Second Tuesday. The 10th.
7 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely, I'll get risk control and the head of underwriting involved and we'll work the scenario. But, I won't take up time here, but I'll probably get them involved and maybe we'll have a couple conference calls or something like that, to gather some more information, for that meeting. So, any other questions or issues on the wrongful acts part before you? Last item on page 1 is the fleet liability. We don't have any owned vehicles, but in our policy under our liability, we include fleet coverage. This provides coverage for, it's excess coverage when you're in your personal vehicle on township business. If you're coming to a meeting here, if you're going to an MTA conference, your personal auto policy is primary, and then this is excess over your personal auto policy. In addition to the liability, I always point out for all public officials, under our policy, if you do get involved in an accident on township business, we can reimburse your deductible up to $1,000. If you carry property coverage on your vehicles, we'll reimburse the deductible. If you just carry liability only, we can pay up to $1,000 towards damages that you might have. On the next page, building and contents coverage. The total limit we currently have is almost $350,000 that provides coverage for your buildings. This location, we have a cemetery storage building, as well as the contents that you have. Contents, tables, chairs, file cabinets, things of that nature. We do provide appraisals. Appraisals are done on all the buildings. Those are updated every 3 years. And then currently we have a $100 deductible on the policy. I don't know, I didn't have the invoice in front of me. Did she offer an option to increase that? Usually it's right on the invoice. Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what that's based on, Kevin? That's such an odd amount. Has it just been going up by itself annually, kind of 343, 250?
It is, what we do, we have an appraisal done on the properties. Every 3 years, we adjust that to the appraised value. In between, it is, we use a 4% inflation factor on the property, and that just goes up in the off years, and then when we do the appraisal, we adjust it. The appraisal is based on square footage, construction type, your materials. That goes into a software program, and that gives us a replacement value on the building. So, in the physical appraisal, we did have a physical appraisal done. I'll tell you exactly what year it was, but that was done, and that someone came out, not from our company, but a separate company we hired, to gather the square footages and materials and things like that.